The abortion law news update that we just reported to you was not the only big thing that happened in the United States, as the House of Representatives sent President Joe Biden the most wide-ranging gun violence bill that Congress has passed in decades on Friday, a measured compromise that at once illustrates progress on the long intractable issue and the deep-seated partisan divide that persists.
Now, the Democratic-led chamber approved the election year legislation on a mostly party line 234 to 193 vote, keeping a spurt of action prompted by voters' revulsion over last month's mass shootings in the New York and also Texas area.
The night before, the Senate approved it by a bipartisan 65-32 margin, with 15 Republicans joining all Democrats in supporting a package that senators from both parties had crafted. And the bill would incrementally tote requirements for young people to buy guns, deny firearms from more domestic abusers, and help local authorities temporarily take weapons from people judged to be dangerous.
Now, most of its $13 billion cost would go to bolster mental health programs and for schools, which have been targeted in Newtown, Connecticut, Parkland, Florida, and also many other infamous massacres.
The legislation was a direct result of the slaying of 19 children and 2 teachers at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, exactly 1 month ago, and the killing of 10 black shoppers days earlier in Buffalo, New York. Lawmakers returned from their districts after those shootings, saying constituents were demanding congressional action, and vehemence many felt could not be ignored.
On this vote, the yeas are 234, the nays are 193. The motion is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. The motion is adopted.
Well, you can hear right there, as soon as Nancy Pelosi made the announcement and hit her gavel, you can hear the applause. And if we had played it longer, the people in the House actually cheered in the chamber. This is because this was a little bit, obviously it's a big win, but it's also unexpected. Normally, this was expected that once that was passed by the House, that it would not go farther than that. This was obviously a big response to those shootings that we mentioned, but it also happened very quickly. It's normally a bill moves very slowly through Congress. Then after the bill passed the Senate on Thursday night, as you mentioned, 65-33, Nancy Pelosi herself applauded the strong bipartisan vote and said that the House would immediately vote on the bill before lawmakers, because there's going to be a 4th of July holiday in Washington. That's when lawmakers usually take 2 weeks off. Right. So they wanted this done as quickly as possible because shootings can happen at any time. And they need changes right away. Now, the bill will provide grants to states for red flag laws, enhance background checks to include juvenile records, and close this so-called boyfriend loophole by keeping guns away from non-spouse dating partners convicted of abuse. Although a majority of House Republicans voted no on Friday, just over a dozen moderate members broke with their party to support the legislation. For example, Republican Tony Gonzalez, a Republican who represents Uvalde, Texas, he announced in advance that he would vote for the bill. Now, this was unexpected to me because as soon as those shootings happened in Uvalde, I believe a day or two later, he attended the conference for the National Rifle Association. So I thought I was quite clear as to where his stance was. But I think since it happened in his home state, this big incident, that he decided to vote for it as well. House GOP leaders, meanwhile, voiced opposition to the bill, denounced by the NRA, and pushed members to the conference to vote against it. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, who actively called on Congress to take action to address this gun violence, said on Thursday he's very much looking forward to signing this bill because, as we know, once it passed through House and the Senate, all it takes is the president's signature, and he's very eager to sign that. He said, quote, "I'm glad to see Congress has moved significantly closer to finally doing something, passing bipartisan legislation that will help protect Americans. Our kids in schools and our communities will be safer because of this legislation. I call on Congress to finish the job and get this bill to my desk." And that's exactly what they did.
Okay, so we're still going to wait for the sign.
Until it's official.
We're going to blast the news,
exactly.
Right? Okay.